Good morning, everyone. It's Lindsey Huddleston back in the building with another SPS Monday Motivation. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a wonderful weekend. Had an exciting time down in Detroit. Shout out to Detroit Public Schools Community School District PSL Championship, right? Executive Director Extraordinaire Jay Alexander and his great staff. Rest in peace, Kyle Covington. But we were there Sunday at the field house for the Cass Tech Renaissance Bowl. It was Cass Tech women's girls basketball versus Renaissance girls basketball. Renaissance girls basketball was able to win. Shout out to Coach Deshaun Wood and his team. And it was Cass Tech versus Renaissance and boys basketball. And Coach Steve Hall and his technicians were able to win in a close, hard-fought game. It was great to be down there, being a part of the culture. Shout out to my guy Horatio and everybody else who was there. It was a fun time being part of the culture, being in the building. So what do we have today? As I always say, you should know where my content comes from for my SPS Monday Motivations, either my personal life or something I pulled from the headlines. But just the other day, last week, I heard this stated by the late, great comedian and activist Dick Gregory. If you don't know about Dick Gregory, you need to spend some time on social media to get your Dick Gregory on. This is the great sage, the latter part of his career, quite sharp, I might add. And he had a clip of something I had heard before, but it just was so impactful when I heard it come from him. And he said, write yourself $1 million check. He said, write yourself $1 million check. And that's funny in today's time because checks are almost, you got to go out of your way to get some. I remember I had to go into the bank to get some additional checks for my business because, we just deal with banking in a different kind of way. But his comment about writing this $1 million check, the key thing he said is, well, it's only bad when you try to cash it and go to the bank. So I'm not here promoting scam likely or uttering and publishing as the federal government say if you write a bad check. But what he was talking about was the ability to be able to gain confidence from this thought. Because if you write that check and put it in your pocket, technically you do have $1 million check in your pocket. Again, but what he said is until you go and try to cash it, you realize the funds aren't there, but it's the concept of building confidence. And that's where I'm at right now. And I've heard this stated before. Jim Carrey made the news years ago when he talked about that. There was an article a few years ago by Praveen Salzman. I probably didn't do that name justice, but write yourself a $10 million check. Jim Carrey once wrote himself a $10 million check, and why you should too. Well, the gist of that story was he wrote that check when he was a struggling actor in Hollywood, and he later went back and said after the time had expired that he was working on his goals, he was able to realize that dream. And we all know that Jim Carrey has become very wealthy in Hollywood. But even with that, he's also going on to say that it's not about the money. What I just want to encourage the people today is have a level of confidence for yourself and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. Was writing the check a gimmick, or did it actually pave the way for his eventual success? Well, it helped with that because you need to do these things to put your mindset in a way that you can think about what you can do for yourself. Because if not, in many cases, we put limitations on ourselves. Society can allow those limitations to be impacted even more with denial and things not happening the way you may have wanted. But if you have this belief in yourself that you're purpose driven, it can go a great amount of distance and go a long way. Yes, he put it out there in the universe, but Carey also acknowledged the time and effort required to achieve that goal. That's the other thing. A lot of times we sit, and whether it's your prayer life or how you meditate or whatever you may do, to manifest something is a part of the visual, but the action too. Where's the work? You got to get out there. You got to go do something. You got to put it together. I had a really interesting thought yesterday as I was returning to the PSL Championship. A year ago I was there, but I couldn't stay for the boys event because I had scheduled a podcast over at a local restaurant. Shout out to The Mix and Angie for supporting me there, and we had a podcast there. And I look up, a year has passed, and thanks to my partner Sean Elliott, we've created a great platform at Veghead. So I was just looking at the growth. I was running out last year of the city championship, couldn't even watch the boys because I had already made a commitment to do this podcast at a location on site. And here it is a year later, I've been able to establish that, so I didn't have to run out. So sometimes we get so focused on the goal that we look past the growth. That could have been a Monday motivation too. We get so focused on the goal that we look past the growth. And you got to see the growth. The growth is your metric. I have a metric now, and I look back to what a year was, and sometimes we lose our mind when we think about a year passing. But a year ago, I remember trying to put something together. To a year later, this something has some stability and growth. So with that being said, it's a very positive response when you put it like that. She says, well, Mo Christian in the building. Mo, it was good seeing you and your Renaissance crew yesterday, sitting a couple seats behind us. Good to catch up, and we'll follow up on the things that we were talking about too with your friends as well. But hey, you got to put it out there, because we can be our worst critic. We can play these mind games on ourselves in many cases to hurt our own success. And the last word they had in that article was, you got to enjoy what you do. Now, that's the other part. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy making these connections. I enjoy being a resource to our athletes. I enjoy being a resource to people. I love the game, so to be able to sit, courtside and watch the game and help, the PSL and their great brand continue to promote is a great thing. And I think that's very important. But I want to get back to the origin of what this conversation is about. And again, it's not about writing bad checks. It's about, what is the psychology basis of confidence? That's what it comes down to, having that confidence. There's a song out, it's confidence, baby. I may not be singing in the right note, but you know what I'm talking about. And this is what my research found. In general, confidence has to do with how well a person feels solid within themselves, and how much they trust their own qualities and abilities. I'm going to read that again. In general, confidence has to do with how well a person feels solid within themselves and how much they trust their own qualities and abilities. Yeah, when you walk in a room like you own it, you feel good about yourself, because for some reason those things that normally will have you feeling uncomfortable, insecure, aren't in play right now. So that $1 million check is part of that. Is this part of the fake it till you make it culture? I wouldn't necessarily say that, because you're not, showing up places showing $1 million check, but it's the mindset and what it should do for you. Hey, whatever's going to work to trick you, because this brain is a very complex organ, and there's so many facets of trying to deal with it. So with that being said, speaking of that, today I'll be professorial. I'll be over at Michigan State University on the campus. Shout out to Dr. Crystal Rashay Beverly. I'll be a guest lecturer for her relational coaching course for coaching leadership. So I look forward to being over there in the building and sharing what my work has got me to. I got my guy Kevin Marshall in the building. Good morning, brother. How you doing? Good to see you. This season is working its way through. I know it's been some valleys and peaks for you, but keep your head up, keep pushing, and get the next generation set up for success. So tonight is the daddy-daughter dance. That's right, Mal and I are going to hang out tonight. Get to hang out with my daughter. The daddy-daughter dance, such a great experience. I just encourage men who have daughters in their lives, whether you have newborn daughters, when that time comes, you get to experience the daddy-daughter dance. It's a great thing, great bonding and all that. Kevin Marshall says, yes, sir, 100%. Well, folks, with that, go ahead and write yourself $1 million check. You may have to go to the bank and ask for a starter check if you don't have bank, checks in your, at hand, because we're so digital right now. But my point is, think about what you want. Think about what it is in relation. There's no reason why you can't find happiness in what you enjoy doing. It's just the decisions we have to make to walk that walk, to do that, and it's so much more fulfilling. And no one says that the money is the happiness. There has to be a level of contentment that comes within, a level of peace you can have with the simple things. And if you don't have that, you may want to take a step back and try to get back to that. Again, I talked about not only the goals, but the growth. Chad's in the building. Good morning, brother. He said, what's good, Lindsay and the SPS family? We are all good, brother. We're talking about write that $1 million check and put it in your pocket and walk around like you got $1 million, meaning that, hey, the world is your oyster. You can do the things you want to do. What would you do if money wasn't an issue? What would you do if money was a factor? When you start thinking like that, to Dick Gregory's point and others' point, you tap in with the universe and you tell the universe what you want. You don't have to sit and explain how you go get it, how you go pay for it. You're saying, this is what I want. I truly believe that, and you're going to work towards it. You're going to work towards it. I didn't say you're going to sit towards it. I didn't say you're going to talk towards it. I didn't say you're going to cry towards it. You're going to work towards it to get that thing that you want and those things that you want. And what I want for you guys to have peace of mind, have happiness, have contentment, have joy, and all those things. So with that being said, we're going to get today going. I'm going to shout out, this is Vernon Richard. Now see, that's telling me he's not watching my Monday Motivation because he called me on the phone. So I'm going to mess with him and get this day going. I want to wish you guys the best and thanks for the support. And Sandra, good morning, dear. Good morning to you. We're getting ready to sign off. I want you to have a good day and see you guys next time. Peace.